So I'm a pretty big fan of the barrage style Roman candles, but I have noticed that many of them tend to have pretty similar effects. So I'd like to create a couple different size Roman candle holders so that way I can mix and match the candles that I would like to try and essentially build my own barrage candles and see if we can't get some pretty cool effects. This idea is going to be pretty similar to the large Roman candle tube that I made last year. The main difference is I'm going to be making multiple sizes for this. So I bought 4 different sizes of HDPE tubes. The diameters are 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch. These are all going to be DR11 tubes, but I honestly think I would have been fine with the DR17 option because as the diameter of the tube increases, that sidewall becomes extremely thick and it seems a little unnecessary. Here's a comparison of a DR11 tube sitting next to a DR17. I looked up how to cut HDPE and found that you can cut it using woodworking tools. Ideally for this 4-inch tube, I would have liked to cut that on my bandsaw. It's just a little bit too long. The company that I order from is making these for water pipes, so the cut's not always going to be the cleanest. I think this one over here looks pretty good, but this one does look pretty rough. And for a water pipe, that'd probably be okay because it's probably not going to be seen anyways. But for my application, if I get a pipe and it looks like this, I'm going to clean that up a bit. For the larger diameter tubes, I'll be using my electric hand planer to flatten those uneven surfaces. And also as a side note, HDPE is a thermoplastic, so it will soften with heat, and it could even melt if your blade gets too hot. Planing this large tube worked out great because it has a nice wide rim to ride along and it is pretty heavy, but these smaller sizes keep moving on me and causing my planer to dig out a nice sized chunk, so I'll come back to these once I can bolt them down. I don't really care what the bottom of the tube looks or feels like, but I do want to sand and put a round over on the top just to make these feel nicer to the touch when you're moving them around. The plugs for these will be made from 1.5-inch thick material. On the 4, 6, and 8-inch tubes, I'll be drilling holes for 3/8 bolts, and for the 10-inch, I'll drill for 1/2-inch bolts. You can actually stop there if you're okay with the bolt head and washer sitting on top of the surface of the wood. I don't really think it would make that much difference anyways, but I go one step further and drill a larger secondary hole so that way the bolt head and washer are actually going to sit underneath the surface of the wood. I just think that looks a little bit better. To finish these up, I have to attach the plugs to the tubes. I'll drill some holes around the base of each tube and then countersink some screws to hold those plugs in place. One of the more fun aspects of this build was getting to pick the Roman candles that I want to use. This 4-inch tube holds 20 Roman candles, and I'm going for a color only effect on this one, so I chose 20 blue pops from Sunwing. The 6-inch tube holds 45 Roman candles, and I wanted a crackling effect for this one, so I chose 15 Crackling Attack from Red Apple, 15 Golden Crackling Comets from the Buddha bag case I bought, and 15 Aztec Crackling Poppers from Sunwing. This 8-inch tube holds 76 candles, and I wanted to focus on a color and popping effect for this, so I decided to use 38 skull poppers from Sunwing and 38 purple and green stars out of the pagoda case that I bought from Red Apple. This large tube holds 160 candles, and I wanted a variety effect for this one, so colors, crackling, and popping. I have 8 different candles in this, so there's 20 of each type. I'm using 20 blue pops, 20 Aztec Crackling, 20 skull poppers, 40 multicolored comets, so there'll be 20 of each type, 20 yellow and blue comets, 20 red and blue comets, and last, there's 20 purple and green comets. I'm using pink safety fuse for all of these. The burn time is 1 second per inch. If you want a longer lasting effect, feel free to use a slower fuse. The tubes where I'm using multiple candle types, I do run into a slight issue where one candle will be longer than the rest. Because I want these to be mixed up randomly, to make fusing a lot easier, I'll cut the long ones to the same size as the rest. As you can see here, there's a decent amount that's just unfilled cardboard tube. These are all fused up, so let's go on site and check them out. Because these are really close together, I don't want a random spark lighting one of these prematurely, so hopefully this aluminum foil is enough protection while I light the rest. I want to go in order, so let's start with the blue pops. This will be 200 shots. Next we have the crackling tube. This will be 450 shots. This third one with color and popping will be 684 shots. Last we got the large tube with a variety effect. This one will be 1,560 shots. Because this has so many candles, I am a little bit worried about getting smoked out, but we'll see. Overall, I'm really happy with the results. Like I said before, I was worried about getting smoked out by this one, but the wind was actually working in my favor, blowing that smoke backwards. Only a handful of candles didn't light. There was 2 from the first tube. The second tube was 100% successful. On the third tube, there was 2 that didn't light. And on the final tube, a total of 5 candles didn't light. I personally like all these effects, but I like the last 2 the most. I will be reloading these for the 4th. I'm thinking about, for these first 3, using small Roman candles again. But on this last one, I want to switch it up and use larger Roman candles for a different sort of effect. Let me know if you have any suggestions on candles you think I should use for the reload. And like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.